Hey, what's going on? Keith here from Sports Vibes TV, and today I'm joined by my guy Inf. Inf, how's everything with you, man?
Listen, man, it ain't good because the Knicks ain't good right now. Come
Yeah,
on, man.
it's been a struggle, but if you look at the last couple of games, you gotta say, hey, the Knicks, we didn't have our full rotation or full roster available to us, and we were going up against teams like the Milwaukee Bucks and the Warriors. So it was expected that we weren't going to go out there and win, but we saw some bright spots. We saw Kevin Knox get some minutes. We saw Deuce get some minutes.
Yeah, we saw
Get some
Grimes.
minutes before he got put into COVID protocols. But today we're going to talk about, trade season. That moment has come where we can finally send away some of these players that we decided to bring back. We'll talk about them. We'll also talk about Mitchell Robinson and him seeming a little bit disgruntled out there, no longer in the starting lineup. I know that's your favorite player, right, Ev?
Listen, man, he's proven me right. Not he. He had one solid game. Other than that, he's been proving me right. And listen, man.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. But let's start with the hometown kid, our guy Kemba. Kemba hasn't really gelled here on this team. He was taken out of the starting lineup. And now this is the time where teams can start inquiring about trades for him. Do you think the Knicks should look to move on from him? Or do you think the Knicks should actually try to get him back into the rotation? Do you think Kemba can actually contribute on this team? Or is he one of the vets that we should send out of here?
I
And I
feel
say
like
that respectfully. Kimba's my guy.
honestly, I feel like he was taken out of the lineup for like I feel like Thibodeau blamed him for who knows what reason, and we've been doing terrible since, and the numbers prove it.
You
Kemba,
think he was the scapegoat?
yeah, of course, and it didn't. It backfired because why is our record with Kemba better than our record without him so far? And also the fact that almost every single game that Kemba's played, he was the first person to score for us. I felt like he brought that energy from the get. Like when he was on the court, we knew we had a shooter, we had somebody who could knock down shots. And look at us for the past few games. Now that we're back with Rose as our starter, anytime we have a point guard who we know for a fact can't shoot, we're easy to defend. And
Well,
teams know.
Rose has been knocking down his shots. It's been a little bit of a dry spell, especially in the second half of our last game. But Rose is all right. I think with Kimba, he was knocking down the three. Go ahead. What were you saying?
No, but Rose isn't known for his shot making. Kemba is.
Rose, statistically, he's been knocking down his three. So I'm not too upset with Rose being elevated to the starters. That's what I would have done. I would have made Rose the starter. But with Kimba, his defense is what really hurt us. And I think the way teams were able to attack him, get into the paint, and start things in or put things in motion where we now have to scramble and try to overcompensate for his defense. I think that's what really plagued us to start, even though we did get off to the hot start, the 5-1 record. But as you started to see Kemba spend more and more time on the court, they started to attack him more. So I think Kemba can still contribute. Like you said, Kemba's a guy that can knock down shots. He's still knocking the 3-point down at a high rate. But I just don't think he's the right fit. So me personally, I would like us to trade him to another contender out there. That way he can still play, some high impact basketball before another team, somebody that is going to give him minutes with a second unit. Because I don't think he fits with our second unit. That was the big issue with me. Could we probably put Kemba in for some spot minutes, 10, 15 minutes a game? Yes, but what lineup are you going to do with? What rotation is he going to go out there with? Is he going to go out there with the starters again? When we saw that it didn't really work out, or are you going to put him with the second unit where you have some players out there, some guards out there that aren't as big? We can, other teams can still attack him. So I think it's a tricky situation with Kemba. The front office, they tried it and it didn't work out. But luckily, he's one of the guys where he's not on an enormous contract that's going to be impossible to move.
No, I mean, do you have a team in mind who you would think to send him to?
The Lakers could be a possibility. The Mavs, they always like our retread. We could probably send him over there. Clippers, there's some options.
The one team that because obviously I still look into what potential Kemba trades we could do, even if it's just a player swap. One player who I'd be interested in trading Kemba for is Kobe White from the Bulls, simply
From the
because
Bulls.
I mean, the Bulls, they don't really need him right now that they have Lonzo and Levine eating all the point guard minutes. And I mean, Kobe White, he's coming off of a shoulder injury, which is, a little sketchy, but I feel like he's a solid player. And I feel like they can use Kemba knowing that they are easily a playoff team and he can add to that.
Yeah, Kobe White would be an interesting option. I know the Bulls they drafted Dosumo out there as a guard. So could it be an option? True, but I'd be a little nervous to send him over there to Chicago and then we meet up with him. Hopefully I still have playoff aspirations. So maybe we meet them in the playoffs and he's able to have a revenge game against us. That's my biggest fear.
I mean, I don't see that happening though.
You don't what? Us getting to the playoffs?
I mean, no, depending on what trades we do, we can definitely make the playoffs. But like, again, I feel like Kemba can go there and help the younger guards. Like, I feel like more mentorship, not really like, I don't think he's going to get a ton of minutes because, again, they have Lonzo and Levine, but he can also come in like hit some clutch shots for them. So, I mean, potentially, but I don't know.
Well, for the Bulls, depth is an issue. So I could see Kemba going over there and still getting some minutes out there just to give guys a breather. He can still contribute. He can still knock down shots. So hopefully he's able to be sent somewhere where he can still go out there and play some solid minutes. But let's give a couple shout outs in the chat. We've got Geraldine MacGyver. I want to give her a shout out, salute. Thank you for tuning in. We've got Sika saying Grimes is the next Jordan. Wow. I won't go that far. A lot of people are saying he's Allen Houston 2.0. And, he looked great going out there dropping 27 in his debut as a starter. So salute to him. It's unfortunate that he got hit with the COVID. I got hit with the COVID. It's unfortunate that he's in protocol, but hopefully he's able to come out and hit the ground running, pick up where he left off. We've seen Alec Burks go down and not be able to return with the same high intensity or high level of play. Hopefully we don't have that same issue with Grimes. What did you think about Grimes when you saw him out there for the first time? Well, not for the first time, but that first time as a starter and with some meaningful minutes.
He was looking good. He was our number one scorer that game. He had too high. And it wasn't look like he was forcing it. There was a couple heat checks, but nothing like he wasn't taking bad shots. He was getting back on defense and the energy was just different. It was just like, who is this kid? And I like the fact that he's a rookie. Like other teams don't know how to guard him yet, so playing him makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. There's not a lot of tape on him unless it was a team that did a lot of extensive work on him in the playoffs. I mean, in the playoffs, but in the draft, if they wanted to bring him in, so they might know a little bit. But it was nice to see Tibbs actually go out there and use him, and hopefully he'll take some minutes from the next guy we're going to talk about, and that's going to be Evan Fournier. And we talked about Evan over the offseason, and we both said that defense was going to be an issue with him, but nobody knew it was going to be this bad. I mean, there's times where, another teammate will get beat, but it's like Fournier's not even stepping up to help. He's like, there was one highlight, he's pointing at, I believe, Draymond Green as he's, running to the basket. And I'm like, Fournier, you're pointing at him. You're the last line of defense. Go step over. If he passes open for the corner three, then so be it. But don't allow him to get the automatic two. It's just crazy with Fournier. So how have you felt with him so far?
Listen, man, what surprised me is that the only thing worse than Fournier's defense is his offense. Like, it's crazy. Like, he can't even do the one thing we brought him over here to do. Oh, my, I hate it. I mean, almost every single mock trade that I did today involved him.
Oh, he's got to go.
Yeah, like that. I don't feel like, giving him extra time to adjust. Nah. You're a vet in this. You have a crazy contract. You're supposed to come in and do what you got to do, and yet you letting a rookie outscore you by like damn near 20.
Look better than you on both sides of the court because, hey, you saw Grimes, what he was able to do. We haven't seen that from Fournier since the game we went to, the season opener against the Celtics, where he did anything close to that. So,
it's been a gas game.
Bro, he had an OD gas. We thought he was like gonna be that player that was gonna step up next to Julius Randle and help get us to the second round. When Julius Randle isn't hitting his shots, Fournier looked like that guy that we could rely on in order to, overcome some of our offensive struggles as a team. Yeah. But it has not been that.
Yeah, I mean, you can't rely on none of them. Ain't nobody there's nobody for him to step up for. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, if you look at Fournier's stats, they're a little bit misleading. Somehow he's averaging 14.2 points on the season. Oh, that's for his career. I'm bugging. He's averaging 12 points for the season,
That's not
2.7 rebounds. Say it one more time.
That's not worth 72 or 78 million to have him.
Yeah, nowhere near. 12 points, 2.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, and then his 3-point shooting, only shooting 37%. Last season with the Boston Celtics, he was shooting right around 47% with his stint with them. We were hoping we were going to see numbers closer to that. He's not hitting his three. He's not doing anything out there on defense, and his contract isn't egregious, but when you look at the production he's giving you out there, it's going to be hard for another team to say, hey, I'll be willing to take him on, because, there's nothing out there on the court. I can't really pinpoint something that's to say, okay, this is why he's struggling on offense. It's just he's missing wide open shots at times. There are some chemistry issues with Julius Randle, but I mean, as a professional basketball player, you got to hit your open shots. And Fournier, he's a vet. We've seen him over there with France ball out, and he's just has not been able to translate any of that success here with the Knicks, and it's extremely stressful, especially when you see two major acquisitions in free agency be players that we're now talking about moving on from, and 4 or 5 months after the fact. That's an epic failure.
How many? We like 20-something games in. Like we're like
28,
25% of the season down. Like it's crazy, but. I mean, I wasn't expecting Fournier's numbers to be similar to Boston, only because, Boston, they have Tatum and Brown, who obviously demand defenses to focus on them, which ultimately led to Fournier being open a lot more than he is on the Knicks. But to be this bad, I wasn't 12 points a game. I don't know. He needs to go. I mean, there's a lot of players that need to go.
Quite a few. Give a shout out to Daniel Rosario. He's saying Fournier ripped off $78 million from Leon Rose, making Knicks management look weak. Evan is laughing all the way to the bank. He got to go.
Yeah,
that is a Snapple fact. And we surveyed 100 people. We're saying, really though, who would take Fournier off our hands? That's a good question. I mean, I didn't hear of a lot of suitors for him in free agency. And with the way he's performing, who's going to look at him and say, all right, we'll take that contract? And if we are going to move on from him, I wouldn't be shocked if some teams demand some kind of draft compensation just to eat the remaining 2 years on that contract, because he signed a 4-year deal, but I think the last year is an option. So technically, it's a 3-year deal that's guaranteed.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be that hard to move him, only because, like I said, I think he'll play well if they have if he's not the star player. So, there are other teams who can utilize him. Like, I don't want to bring them up, but I feel like he'd be perfect on Golden State, because if you're playing against Golden State, you're not focusing on what Evan Fournier is doing, and he would fit that style of basketball.
Oh, the way they were moving the ball, man. And their off-ball movement is we don't see that with the Knicks, and that's frustrating. I hate when we see other teams come here and their offense just looks so fluid. Meanwhile, on the other end of the court, you've got guys just standing around for the most part, waiting for somebody to make a move. It's real frustrating, bro. Honestly, because it's been like that for 2 years. It was like that last season. We were able to overcome it because Julius Randle, was playing otherworldly, and now Julius Randle has started to regress some, and we're not able to pick up the slack, even though we added more offensive talent. So our defense took a step back. It seems like our offense is also taking a step back. Meanwhile, we spent a boatload of money to improve offensively, and we've got nothing to show for it right now.
And it's crazy because, we were talking about how Randle was progressing in the playoffs, and right now he's playing even worse than he did in the playoffs. He's playing off. Why are you scoring 8 points a game? Crazy. That's not his averages. That's basically what he's
you have to say that disclaimer.
I know there's gonna be that one fan. Well, actually, he's averaging he's averaging 30 points a game. Look at how we're playing. He'll probably score those 30 points in the first quarter and then go scoreless the rest of the game. He's not scoring when it matters. He's not closing for us.
Him in the closing minutes is just stressful. You've got the turnovers, missed free throws. There's a lot going on with him.
Horrible turnaround shot. Come on, man. That's the shot that got us out of the playoffs. And now you want to keep doing it? It didn't even look like he worked on it in the offseason.
I mean, I won't say he didn't work on it because I uploaded
That
the photo,
turnaround
not the
shot?
photos, the videos, or not the shot. But I know he's been putting work in the offseason, but it's really not showing itself on the court right now. There's a few guys on our team. They were putting in a lot of work in the offseason. And right now it's just not showing itself on the court. You've got Julius Randle putting work, Emmanuel quickly. We saw him in the gym nonstop, putting up shots. His shot has not been falling. It's been inconsistent. Same thing with RJ Barrett. We saw him putting in work with Drew Hanlon working on his game, and he's been inconsistent. But there is a player we can mention, though. We saw him putting in work, and he's gotten some minutes, and he's been, having some impact. That's Kevin Knox. Couple games he's been inserted into the rotation, and he's been knocking down his threes. Been playing okay, average defense, which is a step up for Kevin Knox. So how do you feel about him? And if you think he's going to be a player that we have to move on from, or do you think the
Oh,
Knicks should
absolutely.
continue to
Absolutely. I'm so glad that he's playing well because now he's just increasing his draft stock. Because now, as a
trade
team,
value?
he's like, oh, I forget this man. They're like, maybe he's a dark horse. Maybe he's worth something. A diamond in the rough. Yeah, like I love it. I want him to go out and score 30 next game. Like, come on. As long as he increases his trade value, like I'm happy because he got to
Yeah.
go.
Right after that 18-point performance, there were reports that 3 teams reached out to inquire on Kevin Knox. So I would like to see Tibbs give him more minutes. I mentioned it during the Phoenix Suns game. We were getting blown out, but there was a period in time where Tibbs had Kevin Knox and Julius Randle on the court together with a small ball lineup. And I really think Tibbs was tinkering with something. He wasn't just putting that lineup out there just for, garbage minutes. He was trying to see if it works, because when we try to go small with Julius Randle and Obi, teams tend to go zone on us. And with Obi not knocking his 3 points down, or 3-point shots, and I think he's still below 20%, it really helps other teams out when they're trying to defend us. So with Kevin Knox inserted as that small ball 4, we're a lot more dangerous. There's a better floor spacing out there. So with Kevin Knox inserted into the rotation, I think it'll help us in winning games, so staying competitive and also increasing his trade value. Because even though I like Kevin Knox, I think there are some attributes that he can provide this team. There's also a lot of positives in his game. I just don't think this regime really has him in our long-term, plans. So if he's not in our long-term plans, I don't want it to go the Frank Ntilikina route, where we allow him to reach free agency and we really get nothing in return. So if we have to move Kevin Knox for maybe a second-round pick, this team has done solid with second-round picks so far. Mitchell Robinson, even though we can debate, he was a second-round pick, he's been contributing, higher, more than a typical second-round pick. Deuce McBride's a second-round pick. He's been solid in the limited minutes Tibbs has played him. And also Jericho Sims, a second-round pick, who has stepped up in minutes when given them. So I'd be fine with moving Kevin Knox for some sort of compensation if he's not going to be in our long-term plans. But if he continues to perform like this, we might be able to get more than a second-round pick, which is a hell of a lot more than we thought heading into this season.
No, I mean that's true, but I mean, like he was also in the mock trade that I did. I mean, he got to go. Like,
so what were some of the results of these mock trades? Let me know.
Oh, a lot of them were actually successes. A lot of them had us winning 6+ games. My favorite one that I did was Knicks and not Hawks, Knicks and Pelicans trade.
You got Valanciunas?
Oh, of course, Valanciunas and Josh Hart for Fournier, Mitch, Knox, and was it Kemba? No,
You gave him everybody.
Mitch and Knox. I mean, because you have to make the money work.
Make the money match, yeah.
Valanciunas, he makes like 22. No, he makes 12. And Josh Hart
12 or 14, somewhere on that ballpark.
12. He makes 12.
12? All right.
And Josh Hart makes like more than that. But yeah, like, and it made the Knicks, we win 6 more games than they expected us to win, because Valanciunas is a legitimate center and Josh Hart, he's consistent.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Knicks fans wanted us to sign Josh Hart in the offseason. It was either Lonzo or Josh Hart. They were saying we'd take either one of them. But if we got a 199 super chat from our guy Brandel Perez, he's saying not even Brittany Renner wants Fournier. Hey,
because he got
Brittany Renner wants anybody with 7 digits in their bank account. Also, and from my Fournier conversation. Hewlett Samuel he agrees with you. He's saying facts. Evan fits perfect with the Warriors.
Yeah, like I would hate to see him go there because of how good he would fit.
Yeah, let's give a couple shout outs to the chat. We got caught up in the conversation. John Talento was saying we're stuck with him. I believe that's Evan Fournier. Yeah, if he's continued to perform like this with a $78 million contract, it's going to be difficult. The Dollar York is saying Hawks want a first-round pick for Cam Reddish. I would trade Fournier and a pick for a younger Reddish. That's a fact. I would trade for Cam. I think in the offseason, I suggested Knox and a pick for Cam Reddish.
Season, by the deadline, we were saying let's trade Knox and something for Cam.
For Cam, yeah, because I think Cam still has a lot of potential, even though I'm being a hypocrite because I did trade him in fantasy. But listen, my money's out on the line in this one. But I like Cam. Cam is starting to pick up his three-point shot a little bit, and he's a good defender, has all the attributes you would want from a 3-and-D wing. So if we were able to go and swing a move for Cam, if the Hawks would be willing to take that contract, I mean, he's kind of getting paid the same, or right? No, I think Gallinari's getting paid right in the same ballpark, maybe a couple mil or two more per season. So I don't know if they'd want to take Fournier's contract and they're still playing Gallo. That might be the only thing.
Well, Gallo, he's more like powerful. It's more forward powerful.
He is, but you don't want to have too many players making close to $20 million on your roster. Yeah, and then you got Trey, who's going to have a big contract. They just gave John Collins money. I think right there between Collins, Fournier, and Gallinari, you're looking at around 60 to 70 million.
Yep, and that ain't even Trey. So yeah,
right. Yeah. So it'd be something to consider. See what else we got going on. My guy Anudi is here.
Oh, salute!
Mitch had to be in all the trades.
One, get this man out of here. Scoring 2 points and 2 rebounds. Talking about, I'm not contributing. I'm not getting. Hey, you scoring 2 points and 2 rebounds. I wouldn't play you either. Go on.
Still, DRE is saying Jonas V from New Orleans better than Turner to me. I like Jonas because he doesn't have an exorbitant contract, So you you trade for Jonas, you have the ability to resign him for some reasonable money. He's not one of those big ticket players where you're going to have to open up the bag and spend too much. So that's why I would like a Valanciunas. He can help you out there on the court. He's a solid rebounder, can stretch the court, pull defenses out the paint. Yeah, he can do a lot.
Game.
He can do a lot. I like him as well. I think they mentioned it while I was on with George into the Knicks verse. They had mentioned Jonas, and he's definitely a player at target. Some people are getting crazy. They want us to go after Jonas and Brandon Ingram. How you feel about that?
I mean, I was looking at that too, but there's no way to make the money work.
Even at all?
I mean, not because for some reason you can't trade Julius. I guess
you can't trade Julius until February 3rd. That's why.
Yeah.
So after February 3rd, then you can start including Julius in deals.
For anything with Brandon Ingram, we would have to. We'd either have to give up half of our roster or we'd have to give up. Just because.
That's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, I mean, Ingram makes 29 mil. Like, there's no way around that. He makes 29 mil. But honestly, I wouldn't be mad at it, only because he's still young.
Nudie 25 got the jokes, and he's saying Mitch thought he wouldn't get traded because he took a picture with Keith. I have no pull within the organization. I doubt they even know who I am. Also, we got a international viewer. He's saying salute from
Chile.
Iquique, Chile. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If not, school me. Iquique, Chile. Also, we got a $10 super chat. I was really sitting here just pronouncing it in my head, trying to make sure I got it right. Michael Parker, he's saying salute to a fellow technologist. Realistically, what will it take to bring home Ben Simmons? Worst case scenario, if we lose with Simmons, we get our tank on and hope we get a top 5 pick.
So
we have to make the money right.
Yeah, realistically, Randle would have to go.
Mm-hmm. And so we wouldn't be able to do a deal until February 3rd unless we worked in a third team to help make the money work. And that's what the 76ers are doing right now. They're trying to look at some 3-team, maybe even 4-team options to try and make a deal, get done. Because when you have players making that much money, it's a very large disparity or wide gap between what some of these, high-end talents are making compared to players that are like the everyday journeyman making 9-10 mil.
And there is no tanking if we lose with Simmons, because Simmons is under contract until I believe 2025. So we would just have this player for like the next 3-4 years. Like, it's not, like we would just be eating this contract if we decide to tank, and it'd be dumb to do that.
Well, you got to get to the league floor anyway, so you got to spend like at least, I don't know what the floor is off the top of my head, but it's around like 90-something million, because we had to do that last year. That's when the Knicks started giving out money, and because the Knicks wanted to be so friendly, that's why we brought back the likes of Burks and Noel and things like that. They were just saying, hey, Miles Powell, you held us down in the G League, here goes a couple bucks, which is cool. I don't have any complaint about that, but now we're starting to, this is a new season, this is a new chapter, and you went and you gave out a Nerlens Noel, you gave him 10, 11 mil, whatever the case may be. You gave Alec Burks a decent contract, even though Burks I'm not as mad about, because, Burks still has shown some value. But let's talk about Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel right now is making more than JaVale McGee, Andre Drummond, and Dwight Howard combined. And we played 28 games. He's only been available for 14. So we've talked about the free agents we brought in. Bringing back Nerlens Noel has been an epic fail so far as well, because even when he has been out there on the court, he hasn't been making that much of an impact.
No, yeah, he's been a disappointment. But honestly, I don't know. We have no center presence. That's why, like, every trade that I did, whatever team I chose, I had to involve a center, because Mitch and Noah have been interchangeable. They've both been playing subpar basketball. It doesn't matter who's on the court. Why is Taj Gibson our best center and he's not always available? And he's not really a center. He's a power forward. But
he's been sapped of his athleticism, so now he's a center.
Yeah, like, it's crazy. Why is he doing like the most consistent? Why is he the most reliable? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but when we made that but when we re-signed Nerlens Noel, I said from jump, it really makes no sense for us to be paying him that type of money. If you wanted to get a vet and you wanted us to try and still be competitive and try to compete, try to get further in the playoffs, you could have got one of those, whether it be McGee, who's only making 5 mil, Drummond. I'm not the biggest fan of Drummond, but I'd rather have Drummond at 1.6 mil than Nerlens Noel at close to 10 or whatever the case may be. Same thing with Dwight. Dwight's making about 1.6, both on league minimums.
But that's their choice, because they want a ring chase.
That's their choice. I hear you, but still, you ring chasing on the 76ers. I don't think the 76ers without Ben Simmons are legitimate
he chose the wrong
contenders. Yeah, you could have done the same thing with us. We would have had a solid second round exit if we would have made the right free agent signings. If we would have did what Chicago did, we could have gotten a center at 1.6 mil, bring in Alonzo, bring in a DeRozan. We would have been.
We could have added those players. Yeah.
We could have had the same exact offseason the Chicago Bulls had and been, I think, leaps and bounds better, because now you have Julius Randle at the 4. You would have still had Mitch. You could have traded. You could have gotten exotic, moved him, seeing if you could have brought in a Valanciunas, maybe a Turner if the numbers worked. You could have got real creative, but the Knicks, for some reason, they thought we had enough to really take a step forward. Even though the Eastern Conference got better as well. And I'm saying the Knicks stalled, but I thought we did good enough to at least be more competitive. So I won't even, bash the front office like that, because I couldn't have expected Julius Randle to regress like this. I couldn't have expected Mitchell Robinson to re-enter the starting lineup and this team to just not gel the way it has. So there's a lot of things that blindsided, I'm sure, the coaching staff, the front office, and us Knicks fans as well. That's why you can see a lot of Knicks fans right now are frustrated, because we felt like this team was a lot better. And you look at us right now, what are we, 12 and 16? 4 games under 500.
Yeah.
And we thought we would at least be, somewhere in the 4 to 6 range. I think right now, what are we, 12th in the conference? And after what we did last season, go ahead.
We're not even in the play-in right now.
Yeah, we're not even in the play-in. And coming from where we were last season, where we were the 4th seed, that's a major step back to the fan base.
And the biggest reason for this is that the players who were playing great last season are not. Julius Randle and IQ, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't expecting Randle to play better than he did last season, but I was expecting the same sort of consistency. IQ, I expected him to play. I expected him to improve. I'm like, all right, you got a full year of NBA experience. I expected him to come out and do what he's supposed to do. He's not. So I guess that's why it's frustrating, because it's just like the players aren't even playing as good as they were last season. The players,
Yes, it seems like everybody has stepped back, and it's
except
crazy
Obi.
because except for Obi. Obi has taken a big step forward,
Only
but
one who has.
and then it's frustrating because if you ask most Knicks fans, this is really supposed to be year 2 of a rebuild, you know? So if technically we're in year 2 of a rebuild, we had a new regime, they had the first year to set things in place. Now we're in year 2 of a rebuild, and now we're taking steps back. That's stressful as a fan of the team, because why are we starting to move backwards when we thought we had a system in place, we had a culture in place that was a winning culture and should be propelling us forward? It doesn't make sense for us to be year 2 of this regime and for us to be this far back. I know you guys are going to say last season we had a similar record right around this time, but last season was without Derrick Rose. We have Rose now. This is more a complete team. This is what this team should look like, and yet we're not. We're faltering. We're failing in comparison to our team last year.
It doesn't make any sense, and
Yeah,
that's why like viewership is down right now. Like nobody's really watching Nick podcast. Like the Knicks fans, they're just over it. They're just like, listen, I don't even want to hear.
I don't know. We're doing pretty good on this side, bro. We just
even on some of like the other channels, like after Nick losses.
Oh yeah, after Knicks losses, it's definitely a little slow, but you know, for the most part,
all we've been doing is losing lately. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. But you know, things haven't been too bad. I gotta thank God for that. Also, I'm happy you're here too, so you can share in some of the congratulations. The fact that we hit 5,000 subscribers as a channel. So if you're not subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. And if you've been holding me down from the start, so appreciate you. You've been a big part of the channel as well. Thank you for co-hosting some of these streams with me. It's greatly appreciated. Also, we hit 900,000 views too. We hit that about a day or two after. So now we're trying to hit a million. So thank you guys for all the support. And then once again, appreciate you. Now we're on the road to 6,000. You feel me?
All
right, let's see. Somebody said, who's disgruntled? Mitch is disgruntled. Mitch, well, let's get to Mitch now. Mitch, stressful, because if you've been an OG subscriber of the channel, you know last year I posted a video that did pretty good about Mitch and him being immature on IG, posting cryptic messages when it seemed like there was a legitimate camp battle between him and Nerlens Noel as the starter. A year later, now these things are starting to creep up once again. You've got, once Mitchell Robinson got demoted and sent to the second unit, he started to post about his plus minus. I don't remember. I think it was the game right after the Spurs. What was that? The Raptors, I believe. We lost to the Raptors, but Mitch was +6. So he went out there. He said, "Hey, I was +6, quote unquote impact." Who cares what your impact was if we lost the game, bro? I don't care if you were +6. It was a -1 in the win-loss column. Like that's all we care about. So following day, he deleted it. Said, "I gotta do better." Now, I guess to save face, he was, I think, a -14 or something crazy in another game. He posted that, I guess, to be consistent. Fine, it's your social media. You can do whatever you want to do. I don't really care. But now he posted one recently. He said, "One thing I learned after every game, literally running for cardio and playing help defense. Let's get it. LOL." Well, I mean, you really just running out there for cardio because, Mitch, you haven't shown us any development in your offensive game. And even when you touch the ball, you really don't make any move to score. There were a couple times this season where he did try to, attack a mismatch and get some position in the paint. A couple times the team didn't see him. One time they did, and he got fouled. But for the most part, you really aren't putting yourself in position to be a factor out there on offense. And you really aren't showing any aggression. Right now, the only reason you score is because somebody put the ball above the rim and you're able to tap it in. So for him to be frustrated like that, I think is extremely stressful. And when you look at this team's schedule coming up, it's a softer part of the schedule, and we need all members of this team pulling in the same direction. So they see Mitch start to do these things and have issues with his maturity. I mean, starting to be the last straw as somebody that's been defending him time and time again, honestly.
Listen, man, I feel like Knicks fans are finally seeing what I've been seeing for the past year and a half, 2
Here
years.
you go with I told you so moment.
Yeah, because I did. Oh my goodness. I feel like right now he's just ruining his trade value.
His trade value, yes, that's the most important thing right now, because his trade value already got hurt when we put him on the bench. Because now somebody's not trading for a starting center; they're trading for a quote unquote backup center. So number one, you devalued him that way, and it looks like Tibbs may start to go small ball a lot more. So Mitch may see his minutes dip even further, which I'm fine with if we're getting quality minutes from Obi, we're getting quality minutes from Knox at that 4, and it's forcing Julius to the 5. So for him to now have these quote unquote issues, as this appears to be bubbling, it's not boding well for us if we do decide to move on from him.
No, I mean, you know how dirt you got to be to lose your minutes to Kevin Knox? Come on.
Here we go.
That's what's happening. With us going small ball, he is losing minutes to Kevin Knox. Like, what? Oh my goodness. Kevin Knox? Like, that's crazy.
Hey, I mean, but if Kevin Knox is going to drop 18 points like he did,
exactly. Like, I
can't be mad at it. Can't be mad at it.
Being worth more in a trade than Mitch. I mean, listen. See,
go ahead. Go ahead.
It's the fact that not only is Mitch not playing at a starter capacity, you want to go and post on social media. Teams don't like that. Like, that plays a factor as well. Nobody wants to take on a player that they know is going to start crying about nonsense. Like, that's just a turnoff for teams. They don't want to deal with outside issues. They don't want people who are willing to put their business out there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I just don't. You look at Frank's value wasn't that high, so you can't be too mad with us not getting any kind of asset for him, because at the end of the day, it seemed like they were trying to trade him forever. But you look at Mitch, and there were some rumblings that the Warriors were willing to give up number 2 for a package that kind of centered around Mitch. That could have been LaMelo right there, if you think about it. So if we decide to not do anything with Mitch and allow him to go to another team without any compensation, I think that's going to be a big L for the franchise, especially at, there were points where it seemed like Mitchell Robinson was a coveted player, and for us to not pull the trigger and allow him to leave in free agency, I think that might be a mistake. So I hope Mitch can stop having these uneven performances and just be a monster down there in the paint. He's been sluggish. He added the additional weight. Now he's saying he dropped 15 pounds, trying to get his athleticism back, get more hops, stop being so sluggish out there on the court. Hopefully, it turns into something positive for us. So if he doesn't turn out to be our long-term option or long-term answer at center, we can at least move on from him and get something of value, because people, I think, around the league viewed Mitch, or still view Mitch, as a valuable asset. So if we can move on from him and get something that'll help us with our roster building in the future, I'm okay with it, even though I still hope he could be our center long term. But if he's going to continue acting like this, I can't co-sign that.
Man, he needs to put the phone down.
Put the phone down. Don't press send. Stay off Twitter.
Yeah, like, stay off all of that. Just
especially after an L. I stay off Twitter after an L a lot of times, because it can get real crazy on there, man. Knicks fans, they're passionate. I'll say that much. They're definitely passionate, and they are not scared to let you know.
No, I mean, he needs to get it together. Like, that's not the time to be doing that.
Facts.
I mean, and also Randle talking about how he needs to be more aggressive with the ball, or more selfish, or something like that.
Yeah, that had me a little nervous. I said, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Whoa, buddy,
you taking more than enough shots. More than enough.
You need better shot selection, and not being quote unquote selfish. Continue to make the right play, and stop taking the long twos. Try to get into the paint a little bit more. Try to get to the foul line. Your shot's not dropping. All right, try to get to the paint, get to the foul line, get into a little bit of a rhythm. His 3-point shot was falling, and whenever his 3-point shot is falling, that's when he's at his most dangerous.
Yeah.
So if he's able to carry that over the next few games, I think the Knicks are going to be within reach of a W. I think our next game is against the Rockets, and then the Celtics after that. We're going to need Julius Randle against the Rockets. We're no Obi, no RJ, no Grimes. Once again, unfortunately, no Clyde either. Best wishes to him.
No more dishing and swishing.
No more dishing and swishing, but we're going to need the dishing and swishing. Yeah. We're going to need it. So hopefully Randall's not going the quote-unquote selfish route and continuing to move the rock and knocking down his threes, and we should be all right.
Yeah, like the only time I want him to be selfish is when his shot is falling. Like if it's falling, like if you're knocking down threes, then take more threes. But he just needs to stop the long twos in general, though. Either take a three or get to the basket or get like that close mid-range, not basically
it's bread and butter.
Yeah, like now you take one step and you're at 3-point line, but instead of taking that step back, you're just going to like, I don't know. He needs to get it together.
He'll figure it out, though.
I hope so.
We've got a few people commenting. Julian Blum, thank you for pulling up. You made it to a show live. Appreciate you, bro. Saying salute SVTV. Salute to the chat. Joey Mitrani, he's saying Mitch is not the problem. I'm not saying Mitch is the problem. I'm just saying Mitch has not been performing to the level that I think we expected from him. And I think that's very disappointing, especially when he came into the season talking about he wants to be Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, we haven't seen that. He's been getting killed by centers at the 3-point line, and it's really been the exact opposite of what I expected from him. He's had some moments. I won't say he's been a dumpster fire out there in the court. He really has some moments where he's been an impact. He's been making impacts. He had 5 blocks. I forgot what game it was where he almost had a double-double by halftime. And I was going to send out a tweet. This is reminding me of, I think, what was it, the Wizards game where he got injured. He had the double-double before half and then got hurt. But then I was like, let me not put any bad juju on this guy. Let me just let it go. All right, let me not even risk it. Let's see.
I don't know.
Best of the worst is saying, bro, Mitch has not improved at all in 3 years. His regression is directly correlated to his injury because once he loses athleticism, his lack of talent shows.
Facts. I know you don't want to say nothing, but I feel that comment.
B. Simmons is saying Mitch has been given plenty of opportunities.
He has. It's not like he didn't start at all this season. He has. He started. And he lost his starting spot.
Rodrigo saying last year the surprise was the Knicks. This year, the Cavs. Yeah. Cavs have been a big surprise. Garland has been a big surprise. And he's putting fire to the feet of RJ. He keeps balling the way he's been balling. We're going to start looking at the Knicks like, hey, did we make the right selection at 3? Should we have gone another route? Because we made that selection and the Knicks still haven't found their point guard. So Anthony 212 was saying Miles Turner is a mega upgrade. What do you feel? And if you think we should be targeting Miles Turner?
I mean, if we can't get Valanciunas, then yeah. I mean, Miles, he could shoot. He could. If you want a center who could stretch the floor and get rebounds, that's Miles Turner. Yeah, like I was surprised just watching him light us up. I'm like, who is this? They got Curry over there? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. But he's definitely an upgrade from whatever we have. Like, I would trade Noels and Mitch for him.
Initially, I didn't want to go for a Miles Turner trade. I won't lie. But to see what Mitch has done to start the season, it's allowed me to open up a little bit more to the idea. As long as it's a reasonable trade, you're going to expect it's going to be Mitch included. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel too comfortable giving up a lot like first if it's going to take that to get the deal done. I'm not with it if we're going to have to cough up 2 first for Miles Turner. I just don't think he's that type of player. I've seen mocks been floating around. They're talking about players 2 first. I'm like, are these people serious? Like, there's no way I'm giving up. I wouldn't want to give up 1 first. I don't care where it is. Take some players. Take some seconds. I'll give you 2 seconds. How about that?
Word. We got from the Mavs. I mean, we got some seconds to throw around.
Yeah, facts. Take a couple players of your choosing. A couple guys are going to be off limits, but you can have Mitch, few seconds, make the money match, and enjoy your day.
Exactly. Yeah,
Sika said, after every loss, I'm in the tank mindset. We got a good one from Anthony 212. He's saying I would make a spot for Luka Samanic. Facts. Luka, I don't know if you've been paying much mind to him, but he's a player. Spurs drafted 19 overall. He had a mishap in preseason where he didn't run out of play. Pop cut him. We picked him up, and now he's been balling in the G League, second highest scorer, if I'm not mistaken. And he's a player that could be a stretch five for us if Tibbs decides to call him up. But what's stressful is Tibbs doesn't really play young guys too often. And if you, if you heard how Tibbs was talking about the other Luka, I'm not sure if he's too fond of guys named Luka. So I don't know if Luka's going to play into our or enter our rotation with Tibbs as coach. If we had somebody like a Kenny Atkinson that was all about developing and moving his guys along, then I think Luka would have been up and getting serious minutes a long time ago. But you look at Tibbs, how stubborn and how rigid he is with his rotations and the players he puts out there. I don't think we'll see much from Samanic this season, even though he should be getting some minutes out there, especially alongside, Knox. Put Knox out there at the stretch four, see how it works. But Samanic out there at the stretch four, see how that works. He's a good shooter, solid rebounder, just like Turner, but without the blocking prowess.
Yeah. I didn't focus on any young players at all during any trades or anything because I know who Tibbs is. Like, why even waste the time?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to give people another view, because I know a lot of Knicks fans. That's one of the benefits of the channel. Tibbs is going to do what he's going to do, but here's an alternative view or an alternative angle that the Knicks could, go about things. And some people agree with you and let you know in the comments. Some people disagree and let you know in the comments as well. And that's the cool part of having the channel. You get a lot of input from people, and people have some solid ideas. Let's see. Yeah. Pass on Mitch Turner, Mo Bamba, Valanciunas should be our next pick as center. I'm guessing he's patching on all three. The last time I was on a stream, I think it was Sunday, we were talking about Valanciunas, Bamba, and Mitch as potential. I mean, not Mitch, as Turner as potential center options.
I mean, so he'd be decent, but out of those three, like I said, I'd go for Valanciunas first.
First? Yeah.
Because he's just solid. This man can rebound and he can score.
Joey's saying play Sims 100%. Facts. Drop Selden. Salute Frederick. He's saying we should drop Selden. I don't understand why we have Selden on the team. Tibbs is talking about he's a practice player.
What the hell is that?
Practice player? We're the 12th in the East. Why do we have practice players on the court? We need ballers. What's going on? We're not that good to have practice players. We're not the Warriors. We're not the Suns. Practice players.
Those are the only teams that got practice players.
Yeah, because we don't want Curry to work too hard, so let him sit down, watch things, and recuperate. And we got Wade Sell to take a spot or something. The practice players. This is ridiculous. Yo, if your guy Knicks 100 a game says, "Oh shucks," if the man, the myth, the legend.
You already we out here.
Yeah, anybody that's not too fond of Mitch, they typically gravitate to Inf. Knicks 100 a game is not a Mitch fan whatsoever.
Yeah, next comment.
Where Inf, not an excuses. This is not the old Mitch. We knew who Mitch was / is though.
He's always been this guy, man. Mitch. Look, you pull up the Fisher's comment. You see his Fishers? Potential trade.
Yeah, Knicks Lakers trade Mitch, Kemba, Evan, Mavs, first and seconds for THT, Nunn, Ariza, Howard, and Bazemore. Yeah, I don't know if I do that deal.
Nah.
I mean, yeah.
If we take out the Mavs first,
I'll give up Mitch, Kemba, and Evan then. Whoever calls, just give me something reasonable for them. But the picks, that's where I kind of turn my nose down, because I like what the Knicks front office has done with their draft selections. I've kind of trashed them with them what they've decided to do when they've had the bag, but when they're drafting, they've been knocking it out the ballpark. So I want us to hoard as many picks as possible, because that's one area where I'm extremely confident in this front office. Quick, we talked about him. He has had some issues, but Quick is still a 25th overall pick. It's not like he's top 10 pick or anything. He's going to have his struggles. Same thing, with Grimes. Grimes is drafted in the same spot. He's going to have struggles too when he gets out there and gets more minutes. But you look at Obi, 8th overall, he looks special out there. So I'm fine with us, what we've been doing in the draft. So that's why I would try to hoard as many picks as possible.
Look at Jesco's comment. Is the last guy.
This one, I'd pick Turner over Jonas. Further down?
It's the one he just made. He or she.
Give me Theo Pinson for Fournier straight up. Thanks. We need more energy out there on the bench. That's one of the big things I've noticed. Last season, it was a bunch of guys that it felt like not family, but it felt like the team had a bond. It was like a special bond with that group. And you don't really see it this season. There were guys, you heard stories about them shooting in the gym after games. You don't hear that now.
You don't hear nothing.
You don't hear anything. I guess now everything's open, so everybody's living their own life at this point.
Yeah, it's like the Knicks are just, the mentality is just out of losers right now.
I want to argue against you and say, no, they don't have the mentality of losers, but you see some of the body language once they get down, and it's just like, where's the fight? You feel me?
Yeah.
The energy is definitely lacking, but that's why I want Tibbs to play some more of the young guys. You don't see that from the young guys. They can't afford to do stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's only these vets that are doing things like this because they know they have enough, slack with Tibbs and they can get away with it. Obi can't do that because Obi's going to sit on the bench. Deuce, Grimes, they can't do that because they're going to sit on the bench. So maybe that's a sign. Hey, Tibbs, maybe you should hold the vets accountable the same way you're holding some of these young guys, because it's working on the young guys. They're at least balling. Quick, his shots might not be falling, but he's giving you intensity on defense. He's pushing the pace. He's running up and down the court. Got the braids flying all over the place. He's hustling.
I mean, I ain't mad at it. Hold up, there's a potential pick that at first. I mean, Jeremy Nussbaum.
Oh, here we go. Nussbaum. Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, 47.8 mil to Houston for Wall, Sengun. See, I don't think Houston's gonna give us Sengun. We'd have to give, but then again, that's an interesting deal because, now that you think about it, because you really don't want John Wall's contract, but then you're getting Sengun in return, who's a able-bodied center.
And potential pick swaps, which I feel like those are going to be decent picks.
Yeah, if we're swapping picks.
I feel like
it's interesting. It's something I have to sit down and think on.
Right?
It's something I have to think on. Like at first glance, you're kind of like John Wall, X that. But then you start to read it. Like, all right, I'm getting Sengun, and I'm swapping picks with the Rockets, who I don't expect to be the greatest team ever over the next couple years. But then they could, KPJ could be something. They still have what's his name, Green, Julius Randle.
For some people are saying that Green is looking like a bust, which is
he's been inconsistent, but he's been out. I'm super tight, bro, because I could have had Mobley and Cade, but I got Cade and I got Cade and Jalen Green, and he ain't been doing nothing for me. So he could. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say he could be a bust. He just has not been playing as well as Cade has been recently, or Evan Mobley before I think he got injured.
Nah, yeah, like they comparing him to Darko Milicic right now. Yo, I'm like, that's crazy. Has he been playing? I mean, I don't watch Rocket games.
He's been out. He has like a hamstring injury.
Well, that's not good either.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Listen to Jesco. Theo and Kemba would form an amazing cheerleading team for us. No cap. See, the thing is, it's a little disrespectful because I think Kemba can still contribute. Theo Pinson can contribute to a G League team. So
my son Marlo Parker or something like that. Stanford? I don't know.
Hey, Charlie, yes, I'm bringing back the realistic rebuilds. I got you, bro. And when I do, I'm going to give you a shout out. I didn't forget you. I was waiting for trade season to be upon us. So, Charlie, thank you for supporting the channel. you guys make sure you salute Charlie in the chat. He's one of the OG subscribers back when I was doing my realistic rebuilds version 1, version 2. So salute to you. He's always keeping me on point, saying, hey bro, we need another one of those. So I got you. Don't worry, it's on the way.
And Rodrigo, the comment right now, the biggest problem with Kemba is his defense.
Defense.
The other teams come and they're like, oh, that's an easy bucket. Let's go.
Barbecue chicken.
That's who gets the ball. Exactly. That's his only issue. So if we had better help defenders, then it wouldn't be as much of an issue. But because we don't have that, we're not playing team defense this year for some reason.
And we're leaving shooters wide open all day. All day.
Because at that point, that's not even Kemba's fault. Like, he's staying with the people at 3. It's just people get past him easily, and then they get to the rack and score. Because, again, I mean, we ain't defending the rim.
Yeah. So there's one more player that we got to discuss before we wrap up, and that's going to be Alec Burks. I feel like I didn't get your opinion on him. What are you doing with him? You trading him or you keeping him?
I mean, I would keep him. I was surprised about him being a starter, though.
Point guard?
Yeah, like, obviously he has been playing well, but to me, he's been playing the best off the bench with our second unit. I feel like with us putting him into the starting lineup, it throws everything off because now how is the offense flowing for our second unit when we've constantly been saying that our second unit has been the only good unit we have. Our starters have been playing terribly. So I don't know. I don't like his addition to the starting lineup because I felt like it threw everything off, but I wouldn't be looking to trade him. I would put him back on the bench, but trade him.
I feel you. I'm not the biggest fan of Alec Burks, but I think he contributes to the point where we can keep him and have a solid use for him. He competes out there on defense for the most part, and when he's not running point and he's got the ball in his hand, look at the score, he can be dangerous. You've seen him not go 5 or 6 from 3 in the third quarter or in a quarter a couple times this season. So he's a dangerous scorer, and I think that's where he excels. When we moved him into the starting lineup as the point guard, initially I was okay with it because I just wanted to see what it would look like, and I knew we always had the option to pivot to a Derrick Rose. I wanted Quick to get to be inserted as the starting point guard because I thought he was ready for it. Doesn't seem to be the case in recent games, but I'm still hopeful that Quick will figure things out. But with Burks as the starting point guard, the offense just not run like it should, and we're still trying to funnel everything through Julius Randle, and I think right now that's not an efficient way for us to score, especially with Julius Randle being a turnover machine. So I'm cool with us keeping Burks. We need to either move Burks to the 3 and in replacement of Evan Fournier and have Rose come in as the starter, or take Burks and put him back on the bench and still have Derrick Rose elevated as the starter, unless the Knicks are able to go into the trade market and bring in a legitimate point guard. But it's hard for me to believe we'll be able to do that when it seems like we've been asking the Knicks to do that for about 8-9 years, if not more.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
and it's not a point guard. Like, he's not. He plays better when he take the shots he needs to take. Move him to the 2. Keep him there. That's where he flourishes off the bench. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Anudi saying call the Timberwolves and throw the entire roster at Ant-Man.
Oh, yeah, fact. Yeah, I've been saying since before last season, trade RJ for Anthony Edwards, man. And everybody, am I still walling? Because Anthony Edwards is clearly a star. He's already a star player. He's a beast. And he's just going to keep getting better. Like, it's crazy. Like, even his mindset after losses is just like, nah, it's just one game. I ain't letting nobody. Like, his mindset is crazy. That's what we need. That's what we lacking. Listen, man, I'll trade everything. I'll trade RJ. I'll trade Obi and a first-round pick just for Ant-Man, man.
Salute to M Toast. My guy Derek was good. He's saying, salute, fellas. The problem is everyone got that bag and don't care anymore. All the vets got the new contracts and playing like trash. They do not care. Randle, Taj, Noel, Burks, and Fournier. Was that on purpose? Is F next to C? Maybe that wasn't on purpose because F is next to C. But hey, Fournier is a funny one. Fournier is definitely funny. Charlie said, my bad, man. The comments are delayed. It's all good, man. I appreciate the enthusiasm. It's all good. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get the video out for you. Don't worry, and I'm giving you a shout out. Appreciate the support, bro.
And heck, Rizzo, Edwards and Julius wouldn't clash because Julius is a part of that trade. Get him out of here too. We keeping Randle for him to try to take the ball away from Ant. No, let Ant do what he got to do.
Listen, Julius Randle is a talented player. It's just his play style that's a little bit stressful to watch. I think if you look at Julius Randle and the talent he has, he's an extremely talented player. But with the way Tibbs is enabling him to run the offense, it's not really successful. It's not going to be successful long term for this team. So I would like to pair Julius Randle with more talented players and get the ball out of his hands and allow a player or a point guard to set him up and get him easy looks. I think that's the best way to get Julius Randle going, as opposed to trying to attack players one-on-one or teams one-on-one. Let's see if we can get somebody to get some pick and roll, pick and pops where he can get clean, open looks and not have to work so hard to get, some points.
No, I mean, I agree, but I also agree with Miguel. Was it Miguel P? Who said no? Anudi's comment. He's like, Julius is a number 3 option on a championship team. Like,
that's a fact.
I feel like we can't win a chip with Julius as our main player. Like, his mindset isn't there. His style of play isn't what we need it to be. I don't know. I mean, he's not bad. Obviously, he got us to the playoffs, but he can't be the main option. We need players better than him, not players who can keep up with him.
Well, at this point, we need both, because I was about to call him Fournier, because Fournier is not able to keep up with him at this point.
I mean, he's keeping up with him this season. They both playing the same.
Hey, Julius Randle hasn't been great, but he hasn't been as bad as Fournier. I'll give Julius Randle that much. He's the only player that showed up in the third quarter yesterday. Was the game yesterday? These days just mixed together. It was the game of yesterday, right? Yeah, game of yesterday. We got a game tomorrow. Yeah, he was the only one that showed up in that third quarter. And that was a very important third quarter, because the Warriors couldn't hit anything either. So if Julius Randle would have gotten some help in that quarter, maybe the Knicks could have found a way to pull out a W. So I'll give Julius Randle kudos for that at least. He showed up in that quarter.
I mean,
all right, let's see.
And I mean, the third quarter is horrible for the Knicks. We need to do something about that. We come out
first and thirds.
Yeah, like, it's crazy. We could be up at half and then we down by 15 going into the fourth. How does that make sense?
It's understandable if it happens like once in a while, but it's consistent. It's a trend. It's part of our identity at this point. I'm pretty sure coaches go into the locker room and they're telling that team, hey, look, this is what this team has done in the third quarters. So we're still in this. Let's go out there, punch them in the mouth and see how they respond.
Yeah, like, that's it. Like, if I'm the coach going against the Knicks in the huddle, I'm just like, yo, all right, third quarter coming up. You know what we about to do.
Like, Miguel P is saying Randle is the gift and the curse. Facts. I call him Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, because some days you'll go out there, you'll only get 8 points from him. He'll definitely go get the 10 rebounds, but you might only get 8 points, might shoot 30% from the field, 30% from the 3-point line. And in his games like yesterday, we will go out there, give you 30 some odd points, 10 rebounds, 5-6 assists, and look like that, second team player that he was last season. Hopefully we can get some more consistency from him. Up and down this whole roster, we need some consistent play, because no one's been consistent for the most part.
Except Obi.
Yeah, the thing is, Obi can't even be consistent because Tibbs won't give him some consistent playing time. So even his production is hit or miss, because we don't know how long he'll be out there on the court.
Yeah, but when he's out there, he's balling. He's running the floor.
Nice.
He's playing with energy. Even when he does something bad, he doesn't like stop to yell out the rep. Nah, he gets back on defense.
Mm-hmm.
All of the stuff that none of our other players are doing, except for you, who can't afford to, and do any of that, like you said.
Yeah, but SV Nation, we had a hell of a turnout today. Thank you guys. You know me, I just pop up sometimes here and there when I want to talk to you. Get to feel the vibe of the fan base. See how you guys are feeling about the Knicks and the current state of things. And thank you for pulling up. We hit 170 in chat. We've got 75 likes. Thank you guys. Make sure smash that like button when you go tune into another Knicks video elsewhere. I appreciate all the support for this stream. And if anything, before you close, Or we close?
Nah, just Tyler's last comment, just because he was talking about Julius Randle, he's an all-star, and then he corrected his comment after saying not an all-star this year. I meant to say all-star level player. That was just funny.
Yeah, man. The chat is always lit. That's why I appreciate these live streams. You know, we come on here, we the two co-hosts, but the SV Nation chat, they're always the third co-host helping to push the show and bring solid ideas. You saw the couple trades that were presented to us. Those were pretty interesting. I might take a couple, look at them, do a little deep dive and see how I really feel and talk about it next time I come on. But I appreciate all the support. We hit 5,000 on the road to 6 and on the road to 1 million views. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate the support. I'll be on with George at Into the Knicks Verse for his pregame show tomorrow. Make sure you guys are tuned in. Just type in Into the Knicks Verse on the search bar. You'll be able to find the channel. Hit subscribe and also make sure notifications are turned on so you don't miss it. Also, if you're new to this channel, make sure you're subscribed here as well because we alternate the pregame show. Also, I go live on Sundays at 8 p.m. with our guy, Stephen Fox. So make sure you're tuned in for that as well. So appreciate it. Once again, I'm Keith, joined by my co-host, Inf. This is Sports Vibes TV, your home for Knicks news, rumors, and analysis. Peace.